Hi everyone, it's Trishna. So you don't know this, but before the Aquarius full moon, which was on August 3rd, which was about a week ago, a few days before that, I actually filmed a Facebook Live ceremony celebrating the full moon. And I actually filmed it twice, and nobody has seen it. And that is because the audio was so bad when I went back to listen to it that the video was essentially unusable and I had to completely scrap it. So that kind of went to waste, but there was something that came out of that ceremony that I really wanted to share on this channel at some point in time. I didn't know when, but we're talking about it today. And the reason why we're talking about it today is because today is August 9th. Yesterday was August 8th, which is the Lionsgate portal. And that all kind of ties into the topic of why it's so important that we trust our intuition first and foremost above anything that we hear, anything that somebody tells us, anything that we read, anything that we see. It's really important that we trust our inner truth and our intuition first and foremost, especially in a world the world that we live in right now, where there is so much going on, there's so much chaos, so much confusion, so much information, so much polarity. It can be really easy to get pulled in either direction and lose sight of your center and what's actually true and what's actually real. So the thing that came out of the Aquarius full moon video, when I was preparing for that video, I was pulling in the intuitive guidance, the intuitive information of what the Aquarius full moon really wanted us to get out of this time to, again, maximize our lives. And so I pulled in a lot of the information. And before I did the ceremony, I went ahead and I researched as well. And what I found online was very different from what I had received intuitively. And the thing is that is actually okay. There can be different meanings for the exact same scenario. And I felt like that was really important. That was something that really needed to come through in that ceremony, and that's why I wanted to create a separate video on it, is that intuition is really, really important. So when I was doing the Aquarius full moon ceremony, when I was pulling in the intuitive guidance, what I sensed the energy was trying to tell us is that this was a time where we needed to put on hold the serious inner reflection and serious inner work, and we needed to have fun. And we needed to get out there. We needed to be more externally interactive and just not be doing any kind of work. It was not a time to be serious. It was a time to be very playful and to have a lot of fun. And when I looked online, there were some who are very studied in astrology, and that's why I went and researched it, because I wanted to get the studied information. A lot of people who are more studied and much more well-versed in astrology and things like that were saying that this is actually a time of deep inner reflection and a time of deep seriousness and a time when we're not supposed to be going out there and getting noticed, getting attention, and getting valued. And the reasoning behind that is because the Aquarius full moon happens during the Leo sun. And so that's essentially how full moons happen, is whatever phase the sun is in, which in July to August, it was in Leo. The full moon is its shadow sign, which is Aquarius. So Leo is a sign of getting noticed, getting attention, being valued, being bright, being fun and lighthearted. So the shadow side, Aquarius, has many meanings. Like, all of these different signs have many correlations, but some astrologers were pulling the correlation of we need to take the opposite, the shadow side, and focus on the Aquarius aspects of seriousness, deeper inner reflection, higher level knowledge, and because it's the opposite of the Leo sun, it's kind of like not really getting valued for yourself, not really getting noticed. Now, Aquarius isn't really about not getting noticed. Like, they get noticed in their own way, they're very unique, but that was kind of the correlation that some of the astrologers were making, and that's why they define the Aquarius full moon as a time of deep inner reflection and a time of don't expect to be valued or appreciated right now, and that's just kind of how this time period goes. And the thing about this knowledge and then the intuitive knowledge and them being contradictory is really, you have to pay attention to yourself and what makes sense for you as the listener. Whenever you're going out and listening to all of these ceremonies, whenever you're going out and listening to the news or listening to different information or listening to teachers or religious practitioners or anybody in the New Age community, whoever you are pulling information from, whoever you're paying attention to, you always want to make sure that you're understanding and you're paying attention to, how do I feel about this information? Does this feel true to me? Does this resonate with me? Is this the truth that I believe I need to take on? And so for you, your experience could be very much like what the astrologer that I read was saying, where the Aquarius full moon was a time when you were not getting valued. But for others, if they really resonate with, hey, I've been working really hard, I've been stagnant, this is a time for joy, and here's why. If you resonated with the intuitive portion, then you should go with the intuitive portion. And here's kind of another story that's related to that. So when I saw this discrepancy, like, it didn't really bother me because I understand how energy works and how, like, it can be different. But, and let me tell you why it can be different before I get into the other aspect. It can be different because there's a lot going on in the cosmos. If you haven't noticed with everything that's going on in reality here, there's a lot going on in the cosmos. There's a lot of huge planets that have significant impact on us, just like the moon impacts our moods and our personalities and animals and the oceans and the tides. So do other planets. They all have an effect on us. But each one of us is built with a different influence that we can see in our natal birth chart of how each planet influences us and how they all interact with each other. So in any given moment, yes, there is this overarching cosmic energy and trend and flow that's going on that does impact us. But again, it's very unique to us and our personal chart and also where we are on our personal journey. So that's one reason why it can be different. But here's a story that I want to share. So the Aquarius full moon is supposed to be time, some say, of when you're not supposed to be getting noticed, when you're supposed to be kind of within yourself and not being valued. But when I read that, I went back and I looked at my calendar for the Aquarius full moon in August of 2019, so last year. It was around August 15th, and I looked at my calendar, and those were the dates that my now fiance had taken off. And he and I ended up going to the mall, and for the first time, we went ring shopping. So we had kind of talked about getting engaged before it, but we never truly done anything material or like actually spent time really talking about it and looking at rings and talking to a salesperson, starting to set dates. So in 2019, under the Aquarius full moon, when some may say that that's a time when you're not supposed to be noticed or valued, that was a time when I actually was truly valued and truly noticed, and it was very apparent to me how loved that I was. So that's why it's really important that we focus on the intuitive information that we receive as well as what's out there. Now, what's out there is important, it's good, but we always want to come back to ourselves and what really makes sense for us and what really resonates with us. And what got me making this video right now on August 9th is, again, because yesterday was a Lionsgate portal, and so I was seeing ceremonies popping up on YouTube. I haven't seen those, but I was seeing meditations for the Lionsgate, and I did listen to one of those. It was actually really nice. And I am seeing posts on the Lionsgate, and through all of that, I'm seeing confusion. And here is just another example of how as within, so without, and as above, so below, like on the mass consciousness scale, we're all very confused about what's going on and how to handle a lot of the impurities that are coming to the surface and how we're going to move forward in really positive ways. I mean, some of us know, but like we're having to drag along people who are not ready for that journey of transformation and positivity. There's a lot of confusion there. And then like to see the confusion here around the Lionsgate portal of some people saying, well, it's always August 8th every single year, that's always how it is. But then also understanding that our calendar system isn't really the most accurate. Like we have to add a whole day every 4 years, and that's not even completely accurate either. And so then there are others who are saying that the Lionsgate portal actually begins on the 16th. Some are saying that it actually began in July. Some are saying that it probably began around August, but actually it won't take effect until a month from now. So there's a lot of information and a lot of confusion around what is really the truth. And again, a lot of that can be cleared up if you listen first. If you listen to yourself, it's good to know that the Lionsgate portal is a thing, but then take the details. The details are for you to figure out. It's good to understand the overall information and the overall influences, like what the Aquarius full moon means, but then you have to really figure out the details for yourself and how that resonates with yourself. And that comes with listening to it all and feeling what you're called to, listening to it all and feeling like what is true for you. And this is a really, really important topic. Trusting yourself and your intuition is so important. I made a video on how to trust yourself, a healing video around that a couple weeks ago, so I highly recommend that you check that out. It is so important because, again, there's so much confusion going around on the mass consciousness scale of how we're going to move forward as a civilization or as a society, and then there's confusion around the spiritual concepts of when is the Lionsgate portal? And there's also a lot of confusion around conspiracy theories and what's real and what's not real. And everybody's getting pulled in all of these different directions, and it's so easy to get caught up with emotions. And that's why it's really important to stay balanced and centered, and again, ask yourself inside, what is the truth? And know that like there is polarity going on. And I think it's so easy to dismiss ourselves and dismiss what feels right and what feels true, because from a very young age we're taught to listen to authority figures, and that's okay. Like, that's important. We need parents to guide us, to help us grow, to make us eat our vegetables, to make us study. We need teachers to break up fights in schools and make sure there isn't a lot of bullying, and try to educate us as best as they possibly can. And so it is important to have these authority figures, but we can't lose sight. We do lose sight, and we need to unlose sight of relying only on that, because then we start acting in that way forever going forward. And there comes a point in time when we need to grow out of that and to listen to our intuition and our guidance and connect with source through our own channels, through our own individual unique connection with source. And trusting your intuition and yourself, because we've been trained out of doing that, is a journey, and it is a process, and there are bumps along the road. Like for me, I now put so much more weight on my intuition, and I think it's actually saved my life once, but I didn't before. Like before, I remember one time I was going to be going out for St. Patty's Day. I was going to be going to a couple bars, and I was guided to, at 1 a.m. in the morning, you need to make sure that you get to your car and you drive home, because if you don't, you're going to be out until 4 a.m. and you're going to be kind of lost. And I didn't listen to that. And yeah, I was out at 4 a.m. because then my car stalled, and I had to wait for friends to come by, and I had to have them jump me, and ended up being this whole ordeal. And I was in a dark parking lot all by myself with this other car that was nearby, and I wasn't really sure if anybody was in there. It was just kind of a weird situation. And I have had so many experiences like that, where I was guided to do something, or I was guided to make a certain choice or to go in a certain direction, and I didn't understand why, and so I didn't follow it a lot of the times. And then what I was told would happen if I didn't follow it is essentially what happened. So eventually you get a little bit smarter about this. You learn how to listen to it. You learn that, you know what, I may not know why I'm supposed to be doing this, but I guess I'll find out 6 months from now or something like that. And I'm so glad that I listened to it now, because there was definitely one time when I'm pretty sure that it saved my life. So I had just gotten together with my now fiance, and I had a friend who had been reconnecting with me, and I had a feeling that he liked me and he wanted to hang out. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to dinner with him, and I'm going to let him know that I'm seeing somebody else, just so that he is clear on this and we're all kind of on the same page, and he's not chasing after something that is kind of a dead end for him. So we go ahead and we have dinner, just me and him. And through the conversation I mentioned, hey, like I've started seeing somebody, he's really special and all of that. And all of a sudden, after I say that, I get this flash in my mind of my friend, somebody who I've known for over 10 years, wanting to kidnap me. And that was a very jarring thing to receive, but I know that when I get something like that, something that slaps my subconscious, that, oh, you better pay attention to that. And even though we've known each other for 10, 15 years, I have never once been to his place, and he's never once asked me over. And after I got that flash, all of a sudden I see my friend's demeanor change. He's normally just this happy-go-lucky guy, and all of a sudden I see him, like, his eyes go dark, and he starts to get angry, and he says, well, I'm happy for you. And he keeps saying, I'm happy for you. And I can tell that he's just really upset. I'm just like, okay, all right, like, he's just processing through his emotions, right? Maybe he liked me more than I thought he did. All right, it's okay, cool, like, we'll smooth this over, it'll be fine, we'll make this work. And then we talk a little bit, and then all of a sudden, for the first time ever, he says, do you want to come over to my place to watch a movie? And just the whole series of seeing the vision, seeing his demeanor completely change, and then being invited over for the first time in 15 years, all that together, I was just like, I will be listening to my intuition today. Yep, nope. So I did not go over, and I have not hung out with him since. And yeah, so listen to your intuition. And with everything just going on in our world right now, I think especially for light workers or starseeds or empaths, or if you identify with anything like that in the spiritual community, I think it's so important that you listen to your intuition, not only for yourself and to protect yourself and to set yourself up for success, and listen to your guides and where they're leading you, and helping you along your purpose. But also, I think that, in this case, like, I might listen to my intuition might have saved my life. But I think with everything going on, listening to our intuition might be able to save like our whole world in some ways. Where if we really just tune into ourselves and what the truth is, we can let go of all of these distractions that are around us and really create that path forward that's going to make our society better, that's going to let go of a lot of this pain that we've been bringing and like enhancing and recycling and cycling over and over, and like help us build that better world that we all as light workers and empaths and starseeds really want for our planet, that ascended view, that ascended life, that ascended society. So if you're interested in topics like this, if this was helpful, if this really resonated with you, I invite you to join my Facebook group that I just started. It is called Trishna's Temple of Transformation, just like my YouTube channel. The link will be below in the description box, and we cover a lot more like this, and we do some ceremonies and things like that, and go really deep into topics to really help us understand ourselves, our mindsets, our emotions, and use that understanding to transform ourselves into something that is in alignment with who we are at our core, and also in alignment with what we want to achieve while we're here on this planet with our individual purpose and missions. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I earned your like and your subscribe, and I will see you in my next one.